Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 558. Today we're playing the Berserker in Backpack Battles. And so we're closing in on our final times here with Backpack Battles. I'm feeling a little bit better about our ability to get to Masters. At the beginning of Diamond, I was a little worried that I would be able to make this last push, but we're about halfway through Diamond now, and I'm really hoping that we can hit Masters here before the Legends of Runeterra expansion comes out 2 or 3 days down the road. And so we're giving it a go. We'll see what we can do, but let's jump in and see if we get a big ol' neato game with the Berserker. See what's up. And so, reasonable-esque start. It's not too synergistic in terms of what's happening, but we do have 4 items on sale. It's always nice to be able to just get this big-ass collection of stuff right at the beginning, especially since these are fairly expensive items. And so hopefully if we get a little bit of direction in what we want to do after this round, then we'll just be able to sell stuff and not really be missing out on anything. And so sounds pretty cool to me. Otherwise, I'm going to make sure we can at least fit this stuff in here. And I guess this is kind of fine with the gloves of haste not hitting our hardest hitting weapons, but this is at least a way to get the stuff to fit. I guess we could swap it this way. This might actually be a little bit better, not having the garlic within the bag, but getting the second point of damage onto the pan. Sure, I'm on board. Okay. Well, I hope everything goes well technically with this. I meant to continue on with making videos yesterday and stuff, but I had to move into the basement. I'm finally the basement dweller now. I've been making mention of refinishing the basement, and the basement itself is mostly done, but at least the part where I record my videos is done, and so I finally made the move in. Hopefully I haven't messed up any of my recording gear and stuff. It seems like the little bars are moving on OBS, like it's making sounds record and stuff, and my face is on there, so I assume all is well, but there's always a hiccup along the way with anything, and so probably messed up to some degree. But we should be able to get the cats in here now, right? I got the cats kind of situated over here. I haven't fully fleshed out how I want to get that happening, but that's the only reason people come here is anyways just the hope for the glimpse of the kitties. And so we'll see how that plays out. One of them's out here fucking howling. Nonetheless, let's focus and see what we can do. The way I've been doing a lot of this stuff with the Berserker is there's a few kind of different paths in the early game. I've grown kind of fond of just going for the steel goobert, and so you get the wooden sword, you get the double whetstone, and then you convert it into the steel goobert. If that doesn't really bring itself together, you still have a decent early game item in the torch, and so you can then convert torch into a decent later game item if that's the way it goes. But a lot of this early game start feels like it centers around the wooden sword, and then we've been going very heavily into flute builds, and so we kind of keep that in mind as we go. And so, reasonable stuff here. Definitely want to pick up the bag. We did find the walrus tusk to make the claws of attack, so that's what we're definitely looking to go for here. I'm kind of fine with moving away from this food if that's the way the game looks to be presenting itself, but we don't have to go ham right at this point. We can just sell the stone, sell that on sale the on sale pan, and then have a bit of growth this way. So this looks fine. This looks fine. Get a lot of stuff into the bag directly. That looks good to me. I don't feel like we want to save the lump of coal. Like, depending on how quickly we find a mid-game weapon, switching to the torch isn't something I get like super excited about, and I'm even less excited about going down the torch path if we're not getting at least a minor food theme going. And so I like having those blueberries around to activate some of the mana abilities, and if we're not going food, there's not a ton of ways to get mana within the Berserker class, and so we'll see. Reasonable start here, though. Picking up these claws of attack early is quite good. What's this guy doing? He's not dealing any damage. We're definitely getting the takedown here. But we don't have our claws of attack yet. I'm a little worried about it. Seems like it's going okay. He's getting the heal out of that health potion. Maybe it's not going to go as okay as I thought. Right down to the wire. Okay. It was concerning. It was concerning. I spoke too soon with that one. But all right, we got our claws of attack. Always great to snatch up here early. Otherwise, we can pick up the onion. It's not a huge investment. If we have to sell it, we only lose 1 gold. Not going to be looking to do anything with the pan here, so we can move on from that. And then another set of reasonable things, very much what we're looking to build towards. We have this Goobert, which we're 1 whetstone away from converting into the steel Goobert. We have another walrus tusk to try and make additional claws of attacks. And then the fanny pack is turned up as well. It's just a nice bag for the early game here. And so I'm going to pick up the Goobert out of this board. It's just a great bit of sustain here in the early portion of the game. So we can rearrange stuff for this to work a little bit better. That looks good. And I like to have a couple of weapons tied over to it if we can. Just our bag space is a little meh at the moment, and so that's going to take a bit of work to get going. Let's see. We've got the 1 slot left at this point. I think this is okay. We'll want to rotate this bag to get both of our weapons in. Or what's the fast one, right? The onion's going to activate faster than the... Oh, this cat's about to get into some nonsense. These cats aren't familiar with the new space yet, so they got to sniff and jump on everything. But let's see. The wooden swords is at 1.4. The 4 on the garlic. No, it's 3.5 on a forging hammer. Okay, so that level looks reasonable to me. Check up here again. 4 and then 5 on the banana. Gotcha. Reserve this stuff we want. Off to battle we go. Oh my god, it's Bernard. He's so dumb. He's the one that just walks around and howls at me, and then you move so he can jump on your lap and he walks away. I don't know why he's so dumb. It's also he'll come up and ask for you to pet him, and so you start petting him and then he walks away. Like you're, I guess, supposed to follow him while you pet him. So he's not the smartest. He is a sweetheart, but he is fucking dumb. All right, so what are we doing here? We got the fanny pack. We got the walrus tusk. I don't think we want any of this other stuff. We're not going to have the space to fit the stone in. We can just sell it later, though, so I think that'll be okay. Get these guys going in here a little bit. If we're set like this, we need to... If we're wanting to get this whetstone down, we need to... Well, this is one of these spots where it's like, I see that we have the slots to make everything work, but it's not quite apparent as to how to get it going. It's like... I guess that'll work. We have to just take the onion out of the bag. Fine. Ooh, man. So I watched the Lakers game last night. It was fairly brutal. You know, I always wonder how LeBron is going to make it so far. Like to give context, I grew up in West Virginia. LeBron James is like 6 months older than me, and so since Akron was so close. God, he's your boy from Akron, right? He's not from Toledo. He's from Akron. It wasn't like super close to where I was in West Virginia, but it was close enough that anytime there would be any kind of news from LeBron, he turned up in the paper, and so I was just kind of followed him forever. And so I don't super follow the NBA. It's just too much to keep track of if you want to care about. And so I just followed LeBron in the playoffs. And last year, I didn't really pick it up until like the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers were doing well enough to where it felt like they were going to make it deep. And this year, I had very low expectations for what LeBron and co were going to be able to do. as they're playing Denver, who beat them last year in the Western Conference Finals. And it's like you could just finally see him get tired, right? Like he used to just never get tired. In Cleveland, he would play in the playoff games for like 44 minutes of 48 minutes of the game and not even really get gassed out. But you can see him out there just being like super tired now. And like, I don't know how he's made it this far. Like like he's like 6 months older than me. He's a little older than me. Like he's 39, I'm 38. And like I'll wake up in the morning and my body just hurts. Like I'll step the wrong way and my knees will hurt, right? Like I legitimately hurt my shoulder sleeping, and I also have coughed and hurt my back. And so it's just like the shit that happens as you progress. Like I'm by no means like a superstar of fitness, but I do exercise regularly and stuff. And so injure your shoulder sleeping doesn't really feel like something that should be on the table, but it is. And so when it comes to LeBron being out there to not only just be able to play a fucking game of basketball at the age of 39, but to be able to do it as such a peak performer and as one of the premier players of the league is just baffling that he's been able to make it so far. Yeah, but it seems like it's finally like wearing down on him. Like he's just too old to be that number one guy on the team, and he really needs somebody to kind of step up so he can be like the number 2.5 guy on the team. And it has to be such a hit to the ego to be in that space to where you've legitimately been the best player in the league for, probably 20 of the past 21 years or so. And I hope he makes it to get to play with Lil Bronny or whatever his final game plan is. But it's rough for him. I feel like this is just going to be a sweep from Denver, and then we'll see if LeBron plays on the cheap next year to make it with Bronny, because I don't know if he's got 2 years left in him to just keep going like that. And it's so wild. It's like just fucking huge. He's a massive human being, right? Like Michael Jordan was not nearly as big as LeBron James, and just that wear and tear on your joints and ankles from being a 265-pound dude sprinting all the time and making cuts and everything. It's been wild that he's survived so long without the major injuries. But nonetheless, I'll stop here. Okay, basketball's been said. The office space has been said. I'm in the basement now. Let's focus in on the game. We probably lost half the viewers already. But the thing here, it's looking fine, right? We need another whetstone. The Goobert's looking good. We're going to try and find a mid-gamey type of weapon, right? That's where I'm feeling weak now, is our weapons aren't super strong. So I'd like to find a chain whip or find a big axe or something. And then we just need a touch of direction as far as what our subclass is going to be. I don't think we're going to be building into the shaman mask at this point, and so we're probably just going to have to generalize with the knuckles. So we'll see what turns up. Here's the first axe. It feels kind of late, right? I do like the shaman mask, and I'm okay without having a ton of sockets, right? I do like the box of riches builds, but I've found if you have flutes, it tends to just be enough for the shaman mask, right? If you're not quite familiar with the subclass items, right? The shaman mask is what feels just like the best one to me. The runes are spectacular, and this scaling thing of buffs is pretty good. And then what I kind of look at the tier 2 items would be the brass knuckles and the wolf emblem. I like the wolf emblem if I've already got like a 1.5 pets or so, right? If we have a Goobert and another pet, then it feels like it's a decent pickup. But like we aren't even to the point where our Goobert's ready to level up. And so that gets you to the just kind of generalist brass knuckles, which isn't a bad item. And we can get some decent wraps on it with like double claws of attack and a chain whip or something. But it just feels like it's never a full game-winning comp. It's something that just takes you to the survival rounds and you retire. Then down here, not really interested in either the Anvil or the Deerwood Guardian. I have not had too much success with them this patch. And so the reason we call that out, this would be the opportunity to say, pick up an axe and then pick up the box of riches and potentially go down the route of shaman mask with the sockets. But it seems just like so far away I am kind of interested in just leaving this behind and hoping we find a busted blade a little bit later. And so let's greed it up a little bit. Let's roll. I think we'll go towards the brass knuckles. Here is the whetstone that we needed for our little sword. Okay, and then if we are going to be going towards the brass knuckles, I think I'm okay with picking up a dagger. It's just nice to me to have access to, say, one blood dagger, which will let you get 4 or 5 vampirism, and then all of your little items punching in can collect in on that. And so I think this is a reasonable pickup here as well. And here, nothing else to add. Alright, that should still be good. We'll at least get the onion back down into the attack speed bag. But yeah, definitely need to pick up a weapon here. I know that we just rolled past the axe, but we're about to eat the wooden sword after next round, or I guess hero sword at that point, and so we can't just be running around with one claws of attack. Would definitely like to pick up a second one, though. Like, getting those empowered attacks in is quite good. Especially if we are going for that brass knuckles build, just getting the empowereds with all of the extra attacks is, or all the extra weapons is pretty nice. And so, speaking of the devil, we find the gloves of attack. We need that to upgrade the walrus tusk. We'll sort this out in just a moment. I don't think we want the third one. I very rarely come across situations where we're able to get that many of them going, and so we'll leave it back. Happy enough to pick up the yellow potion. We're going to end up selling off this food. We are not anywhere near a food build, so I think that will be fine. Not really interested in an additional goobert. Maybe we do end up picking up the walrus tusk. It's very, very kind of sellable at this point. Right, this looks nice. Gonna be like 1 hex short this way. There. Alright, so claws of attack, happy with that. Let's go ahead and just put the onion in over the stone. Yeah, it's like I've never gotten 3 claws of attack together. Right? I think we're fine to stop at 2, and then if we do find more gloves and want to pick up either gloves of haste, which I'm fine with here. If we want to pick up dragon claws, which I'm less fine with, we can just use them in that manner. So let's just bank the money. I guess you can pick up the goobert. I don't know. If we roll a cheese next round, we might really consider it, but it just feels like we're pretty far away from wanting to be a goobert comp. Right? We didn't pick up the wolf emblem. It's just the food isn't here to get all of the activations going. I don't think it's going to be a thing. I think we're going to be going for the brass knuckles and then trying to get a bit of a vampirism sub theme. Oof, getting close. Got him right at the end. GG. So yeah, I think we've got to go brass knuckles, right? I don't feel confident without any of the stuff that just generates luck. Like, it is nice that the Shaman Mask feeds back into itself, right? You can get 5 random buffs, which do include clovers, but we don't have any flutes. We don't have any like blueberries to generate clovers with. I just don't feel great about it. Not going for the wolf emblem. We mentioned that. We could, I guess, work with the wolf emblem. We have the one goobert at this point. The thing that I'm looking at with it is the ability to get that like resist the debuffs with the empowered. But like I start to think in my head, what if we set up something like this where we're able to get this critical hit chance onto like 5 different weapons? But I don't think it's worthwhile. We'll just pick up the brass knuckles. Okay, and so do we want to start going with the hungry blade? It's not an item that I really want to build towards, but I think we have to have something. Like, I'm usually not just happy with the 2 claws of attack. They feel like more of a supporting type weapon, and then we really want a bigger weapon that gets the strikes in, a chain whip or something. But we don't have too many options at this point. So let's snatch that up. Gonna look to get these slower weapons down here at the bottom. See how I forgot that we were going to be kind of taking advantage of this steel goobert. I don't usually piece it together with this many claws of attack, so it's a little awkward in how I want to get it set up with the brass knuckles. Right, I'm looking at something perhaps like this, to where we can start to get 3 weapons wrapped around the brass knuckles. I don't want to lose out on too many of those abilities. Could also look to put it over here, something like this, to the left of the goobert, and then just rotate the claws of attack to the right so that it fits underneath. I think that might be where we want to be. Right, so we've got a stack in like that. Probably just need to flip this whole bag though, right? I want the I want all of our weapons kind of hanging out in the champion bag, class bag, whatever this thing is called. All right, so yeah, see, this is the kind of start towards what I had in mind. Maybe we get to do something like that. And then what's left down here? We can get both. I think this is a reasonable way to go about it. I don't know. I just see the value we're missing out on with the brass knuckles, and it's tough for me to not want to just wrap everything around. Just make it fit for a moment. All right, so something like this. I think that's a reasonable start. And then we just need to get some garbage over here on the other side of the goobert. Looks like that's where we're going to be putting some of these foods in. Right, I think that's okay. Like, I'm not entirely certain on this build. Like, I've spent a lot of the past couple of days going with chain whip builds for like the vast majority of them. I just stick it down here in the bottom right, and you can get your chain whip kind of just in one of these bottom right corners of the bag, and you can build out from there. I'm not entirely used to just switching to brass knuckles and going this way, but I think that this looks okay. We do have a goobert in hand, so maybe we shouldn't just completely waste it. Right, we're not going to sell it, so we might as well get it out here in action, maybe gain a little bit of attack off of it. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. The downside here is we don't have a lot of items tied into the goobert attack upgrade, right? That's typically the big thing to me is the weapons gaining that +2 damage. And so maybe we're overthinking what this bag is doing, but I think this is okay. See, yeah, this is what this guy's done with the chain whip is what I've been doing a lot of, to where you can get it both on the activator and on the payoff side. All right, took that guy down though. Oh god, what's the present? I've had this thing before and I don't remember what it did. I felt like it was garbage, right? Instead of gold, you receive items with a higher value. And then at the start of battle, you get 5 random buffs. And so it just puts like items into your storage. And then I typically found that I just sold everything. And so I'm not going to take it. I don't particularly like this thing. And so we'll let it go. Otherwise, the potion is on sale. We can snag it before we move to the next one. Definitely want the fanny pack. This will be our first armor. I think we need to pick it up as well. Probably a reasonable time just to sell off this Goobert that we're not going to use. Hang on to the onion for just a minute, but I don't intend on keeping it either. This bag stand. All right, fine. I want to come up here and upgrade the armor, but I'm not going to do a ton of rearranging to get it to a point for that. Gain that stamina. I think this is okay. These bags are slightly awkward. Let's roll and see what turns up. All right, well, I'm okay with picking up the shield. The shield with the Goobert does work out kind of nice, and it's a decent Goobert activator, right? You can take the shield and basically put it in this spot, and whenever you get hit, it has that chance to activate, and so I think that'll be fine. All right, so let's see. Gotta save that. Oh, man, there's also the blood gem as well. Go save it. Is there any reason to pick up the mana orb? Probably. Getting the thing with these shields is like the Shield of Valor is fine. You typically think of using the Shield of Valor just for the kind of melee stuff, right? Preventing the damage and getting the stamina is good. Then you get that giant armor bonus, and so the armor bonus ties in with the Goobert. But the thing with most of these shields, right, it's on attack melee, but if you upgrade it to the Moon Shield, it's just on attack. And so if your opponent starts hitting you with ranged weapons instead of melee weapons, then you still get the opportunity to prevent that damage. And so I think that'll probably be worthwhile to upgrade to here in just a moment. We probably need to unreserve this blood gem. Right, if we're going to be picking up a 6-slot Shield of Valor, we're also going to need some bag work to go with it. And so I think that'll be fine. We'll just put it up here so it activates the Goobert. Got to rearrange these bags. These bags are all fucky. I'm still like a little bamboozled in terms of how I want this comp to look, and so it feels a little off. Yeah, doing similar stuff with hammers just dominated us that round, but I think we'll perk up a little bit after this one. So we definitely want the Shield of Valor, definitely want the little item. Spiked collars are great, but how bad is this gonna be? So let's see. We're gonna look to do something to the likes of. Oh, this shit takes up so much space. So we need these up here, then we need the Goobert to go down 1. Now we can look to get the armor thing up top, then the shield here. This is a nice core for what the Goobert's going to be doing. Now I kind of want to pivot a little bit away from not having our items getting upgraded by the Goobert. Like I think I kind of want to switch to something a little bit more like this. And then we can look to have the Steel Goobert upgrading both of these items. The thing I'm just not certain with, I think we want actually to be in this kind of space to where the claws of attack are one of the things we're using to upgrade the Goobert, because they should be attacking faster. We don't currently have the ways to get thorns right now, but I think that's the way that we would ideally have these things situated. Do have a handful of attack speed bags as well. Alright, I think I'm okay with that. So the thing that sucks with this angle is we're kind of wasting the duffel bag. Maybe we do need to bring it back down a little bit. You would ideally have something like this, so that when our Battle Rage pops, these Claws of Attack are in there getting that bonus as well. Okay, that's closer to where I want to be. Maybe it is okay to just give up a little bit on that Goobert. Alright, I think I'm going to do something like that, and then I'm going to bring a little bit of these foods over to this other side so we can get our big health potion in. Get this thing in. Hang on, we need to... Alright, well that's close. I was say we need to upgrade our our Shield of Valor as well. Okay, I'll just give up on this 10% attack speed and hope that we're okay after this round. Just, I don't know. How long do y'all want to sit here and watch me rearrange a bag? And so, I think that's a decent space. But yeah, this is where I'm just not entirely certain is where we want this Brass Knuckles. If we want it within the speed bag, or if we want it up here where the items are getting attack speed off of the... Or the items are getting attack bonus off of the Goobert. It's tough. So here we do have our first flute. Still happy to pick these up. It's a fantastic way to come in and activate the Gooberts. And so gonna snatch that one up. Cheese turned up. Like, it's fine having the one cheese, and it does work nicely with like the flute and scaling up some of these buffs, but I don't think we're gonna be in the space of like really operating a gen lamp. But it does give us the way to pick up thorns to make these Claws of Attack work a little bit better. It's probably a bit greedy at this point. I think we need to kind of like find another bag. How bad is this? What if we put a second one of these things in? It says it takes us to high stamina. Because I do plan to like get the flute in over here. I don't hate it. How does this start to look? I think I just need to get in my head that we're never going to get this like full wrap on the Brass Knuckles to where it gets to upgrade 5 items, right? It's I gotta feel like this is probably just good as it's gonna be. Like we might land in a spot to where we get another thing up top, and that kind of helps a little bit, or we pick up some more of these daggers, and that helps a little bit, but. Okay, let's just stop it there. All right, so otherwise, I'm gonna do a little more rearranging. it's just the name of the game today, huh? You just gotta do a little bit more. Get these extra activations in on the flute. If we do that, we're not going to be able to. Now we can get the stamina potion in. Let's get these things that are actually important in here. Let's just go for the damage. Let's kind of completely give up on the fruits. I don't think we want to hang on to the dagger. Ooh, this is awkward. This is one of these games where I felt like I was actually feeling pretty good about how we were coming in here and dealing with the Berserker, and then this Brass Knuckles build with the stuff I'm not used to really kind of threw me for a loop. Dickbag came out here and just started draining all of our debuffs. You can't appreciate that. got a lot of thorns as well. I feel like this is the second time we've come in and encountered a bunch of thorns. It's annoying as shit. All right, what do we got going here? And so, there are a handful of upgradable things, right? You got the boots potentially, or the other armor potentially. I don't think this is really a double armor kind of build. Like if we were going towards foods, I feel a little bit more appealing with that. I mean, maybe I wonder if the idea is that maybe we should just be trying to take like the leather armor as another way to build up the vampirism. I think that's kind of where we're lacking at this stage, is not having access to the vampirism. But here, I do like the boots. When they get to give out the empowered, just gives us a, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weapons here at the moment. There's so much scaling when that actually pops off. So I think that's okay. Kind of pick up the health potion as well. Hopefully get a little bit more usage out of this heroic potion that way. And now the blood amulet is turned up. I'm just going to sell the foods. Pick up the blood amulet. Now let's see. Or we can get, we'll have to come back to that potion belt. Get this. Yeah, this bag is a mess. I don't think there's anything I'm quite willing to just pull at this point, but I really need that bag slot. How many lives do we have left? 2. So if we make it through this round, we'll still have a shot to get some of these upgrades. It's just, man, if we're not getting the, well, I guess we don't currently have anything that the blood amulet's going to upgrade, right? We'd have to get the dagger in, and if we're going to start selling a bunch of this shit, then it's just not going to work. And so I'll leave it out for the moment. I can't envision that the blood amulet is going to be better than the spiked collar at this point. Okay, we'll jump in. Man, this has been weird. We got poison comp out of the Reaper. It's got a little bit of thorns, not a ton. We are running out of stamina fairly hard out here as well. Whew, painful. Okay, maybe that'll solve all of our problems, though. We've got our potion bag that we needed, and now we've got a second flute to hopefully help mitigate some of those stamina issues. Otherwise, can't really roll anymore. Let's see. Get this guy in. We got to get this flute in as well. We're going to need to stop using one of these bags so that we can get more flute stuff out to the right. Alright, so we can do something like that. We can get the spiked collar in as well. 1 hex short of the dragon skin boots, but I guess that's just what life is at this point, right? And so hopefully this is kind of the turning point, though, as we've got our second flute to really give us a chance to keep that stamina up. These flutes do work with the Gooberts as well, in the sense that they get the bonus armor generation from the Goobert, and so I don't think we want to move it, right? We have the 1 flute with the Moonshield Steel. I don't think we need to make a big effort to get this second one involved, but that's one of the nicer kind of combos we have building out with this. Got here some kind of food comp. Getting them chili peppers going with the Excalibur. I don't think we're going to sustain through this. It seems like he's getting too healthy. Oh, maybe. We made a surge here at the end with our battle rage. Oof. Oof. Okay. Okay. 1 battle, 1 round. If we can make it through that 1 round and pick up the 5 BPBLP, I think we'll be in good shape and feeling good about this because this run has been a fucking shit show. So let's see what we can do. And so, yeah, I want to kind of keep in mind that this is going to be our last round. And so be kind of aggressive in terms of what we're picking up here. But I think first and foremost, we need the bags. I'm not going to risk not getting a bag. So we'll go ahead and snatch this one up. I don't think the fanfare is where we want to go, right? I do have some comps with the Berserker where I like the fanfare, but typically not. It needs to be something that has a lot of attack stuff like we have here, but then it also has mana-based usages. And so if you've gone with the Mystic Torch, whatever it's called, then you have a bit of opportunity, but I don't think that's where we're at. Coming in here, see, picking up another dagger, but it's not going to have any upgrades. The boots, probably about where we want to be, but I'll need to see where we stand in terms of bag space here. Let's see. Definitely get something like that going. We can get the boots going. Can fit the dagger in up here on the brass knuckles. So as it stands, we've got 3 hexes open. I don't really care about getting the forging hammer in. I'm deciding if we want to get the gloves in. Like if we could get the gloves in and then just like one more thing, I think that would be okay. Ooh, that was a pretty spicy roll with the it has another flute coming up, which I don't think we can fit in, but an additional spiked collar does strike me as quite good. So let's at least rotate this bloody dagger into the bag. This is the kind of awkward point with this, though, is we need to kind of manage how we're going to keep these flutes with their stars. Right, maybe that's just not going to happen. But if we're going to put the boots into the thing, then we can put this spiked collar in a little bit better of a location. Okay, I think that's it. I guess that's where we're going to be with this. 3, 2, 1, push the button. Let's go. Squeeze them cheeks, boys. See if we can't get out of this one. Oh, this is a brutal one. These dust comps are pretty tough to deal with when we miss so many of our attacks. We're just going nowhere in terms of breaking down his attack. Fuck. What did he get us to? What was our accuracy right here at the end? We had a 5% chance to hit with the Hungry Blade, and it's not a complete shit show. We get the stamina regen off the flute that doesn't care about that thing, and then the claws of attack aren't very stamina heavy, so they tend to be attacking even through the thing, but that's kind of a pain point. Do we get any LP for this? Do we get any of them BPPLPs? Backpack Battles LPs, right? Probably not. Probably like -1. Yeah. and so not bad. I'm actually, it feels like -1 was a win for me in terms of how that went, because I'm not certain. Like, I know I could have made this comp work a little bit better if we just had the chain whip. Like, the chain whip is what I've really just been taking every single game over the course of the past few days. And again, I know we kind of briefly called it out earlier as to how you can fit it, but when you're like dealing with these steel gooberts, it lets you get kind of a wrap around it to where your weapon is where our claws of attack is, so it's helping level up the goobert, but then it's also down in the payoff position on the goobert, so it's getting bonus attack as well. And so I tend to have like a bunch of food out to the left of the goobert, the steel chain whip to the right, and then we try and put these claws of attack up here where our hungry blades are, so that they get the empowered bonuses that takes advantage of them attacking much quicker. And so this is the kind of game to where I got thrown off a little bit in the sense of I didn't quite know how to position stuff using the brass knuckles. I feel like we made the correct decision in which subclass item to take, in that the smithing hammer or the anvil wants you to be on a single weapon comp. We're not doing that. The shaman mask wants you to generate luck. We're not doing that. The The mana thing we're nowhere near doing, and so it's either do you want to go for the pet thing, which we could have taken, but only having like I don't remember if we even had our steel goobert once we were at that stage. Like it just felt kind of far away from the pet stuff, and then we were just stuck with the brass knuckles, which is fine. You know, it's a reasonable um, catch-all kind of item. It ties in with a little bit of the empowered that we're able to generate, and we have a bunch of weapons, so it works in there. But I'm trying to think if just like from my brain's perspective of not having enough experience, if we would have been able to just say like sell the steel goobert and then just fix a good comp around that, right? If we just completely ignore like this awkward positioning between the steel goobert and the brass knuckles, just eliminate one of the things that my brain can't wrap itself around at this moment, and if things would have gone any smoother. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with how we played this. I like how a lot of the combinations came together. I just weren't really able to adapt after we got these blood thorns or whatever they're called. I'm curious if we didn't see a thorn whip at some point, and we should have just sold these and gone for the chain whip. But my brain was just so wrapped around what we were doing that I missed it. That could have been a thing in there as well. But nonetheless, good battle. You know, to me that is a win. It's something that felt like one of the things that you to me that you kind of run into that really it doesn't seem too apparent when you're playing the auto battlers, but you know you always want to be getting first place. Everybody's brain understands first place, and when you get first place, that really feels like a win. But like there's always this kind of concept in poker as to where if you put yourself in a spot to not lose money, right? That's kind of the same as winning. And so if you used to play a hand and you would mess up with it, and on average you lost $5 a hand playing that hand, but you kind of like figured out how to play it a little bit better in the future, so you only lost $3 a hand. That's a gain in value, right? At the end of the day, you're making money in that sense. I know you're losing money because you're losing $3 every time you play that hand, but you're losing less money than you used to, which then equates to a higher win rate, assuming you're still winning across the board elsewhere. And that's what this kind of feels like. You know, I feel like maybe if we got stuck with this exact same situation last week, we would have probably lost like 10 LP. But I have been able to kind of manage this a little bit better to where we only lost one this time, and that's really going to be a big deal breaker in terms of trying to get up to Masters over the course of the next few days. So hopefully that helped you out a little bit. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. You had a good time watching. This is Bustin' Me. Thank you for being here.